Hi everyone, welcome to the Paranormal Coffee Lounge. It's Terry here. This is the first episode, and tonight we've got some guests. We've got Claire Stones and Matt Curbison, who runs the Berry Pomeroy Castle page. So we'll have a chat with them about all things that go bump in the night. But first of all, I'm just going to run the intro, which Nath Lockley kindly made. So we'll do that, and then everyone can discuss their experiences and chat about spooky things and all things that go bump in the night and go boo. Enjoy. So, hello and welcome to the stream. So, first of all, I'd just like to bring in Matt. As I say, he runs the Berry Pomeroy Castle Ghosts and Spirits page, and he's just going to introduce himself and talk about his page for a little bit, and then I'll bring on Claire Stones with her stories and experiences. So, let's bring Matt on.
Yeah, good evening, Terry from Torquay, sunny Torquay. Yeah, how you doing, my friend? All right?
Mate, right? You're out today, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm out today. Yeah, I'm over at Tor Abbey today, over at Tor Abbey Gardens, over in Torquay. Absolutely beautiful today here, mate. Lot of holiday makers. So I've been here for about 3 hours. Like, went inside, had a view at the museum, had a walk around the museum, like taking photos. But a lot of holiday makers here at the moment. Yeah, it's really nice today, mate.
So school holidays, isn't it? Everyone's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in Claire now, and let's see her story.
Hello, your host.
Hi, Claire.
Good evening, Claire.
Hello.
How you doing, Claire? Right?
All right.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Claire. So we're up near Wales, but we still visit the Chase a lot. So that's Cannock Chase, where we see lots of UFOs and spirits and have experiences over the years. So where we've seen soldiers marching around the Chase, weird lights cutting through the trees, triangle flying objects over there that follow you back home. So there's a lot of strangeness going on in the Chase if ever you're up there.
Yeah, it sounds quite interesting area up there. I'm yet to see it, but yeah, a lot to visit that area.
Yeah, it'd be good. It's really good.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look. So what got you guys into all of it, and the experiences and seeing strange things? So
yeah,
which one
do you want to go first, Claire?
Yeah, you can do.
Yeah, you want to go first?
So my first experience was when I lost my nan. I felt a hand on my shoulder, and that was my first experience. Then I started having radios turning on, and I saw spirits flying past windows of houses that I was staying over in. And then I fell on a staircase at work, and just before I hit my head into the step that had metal on the edges, I felt something push me back. And then there was a man in a white suit at the top with a goatee. And it was like he'd stopped me from falling. And it was just bright white, the suit was. And I can still picture it as if it was yesterday. And it just started from there. It just, every time I either try and steer from it, I get to experience something else, whether it be orbs or tapping or my name being called. There's always something that calls me back to it. And the UFO stuff was just, I've visited the Chase quite a lot of the times. And when I met my husband, we went there nearly every day, and we kept seeing lights whenever we was parked up through the trees, and then they just vanished. And then we saw a soldier marching in the German War Cemetery, so he was
Wow.
just like marching backwards and forwards. And we even had little walkie-talkies to see if we could pick anything up, and we had screams and muffles through the walkie-talkies, so you just got like basic ones, so you didn't get any other interferences and that. And it was just really coming through. And then when we was parked up, when we were seeing all the lights and things, we had these big black cars driving past us slowly with sunglasses on at night, which is a bit weird because I don't know why they need sunglasses at like when it's really late at night and it's dark. But instead of looking at the road, they were looking at us, seeing what we were doing. So it just makes you think, why are they there? And then that's when we come across these triangle like objects above us. So we thought, right, we'll leave, and I don't know what them are in the sky. And they literally tailed us all the way home. There was 3 of them, 3 triangle shaped like crafts in the sky, and they followed us all the way home from Cannock, and it was about 20 minutes at the time. So it was quite a bit of a journey. And since that, there's been apparitions in houses that we've been in as well. So that's what sort of kept me in with it, really, trying to keep up with it all.
What about yourself, Matt? Thank you, Claire.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Claire, for sharing that.
Okay.
Well, how I got into the paranormal was that back in the 80s, my dad actually worked as a plumbing and heating engineer in Basingstoke. And my dad, he used to work in the Surrey, sort of London area. And he worked at a place called Dorney Court, which is like an old 11th century manor house, you know. And he worked there for quite a while. It was probably, I'd say probably around about a month. He had to do a lot of work there. It was just like building work, plumbing and heating. And my dad actually had his first ever experience of a ghost sighting in there at Dorney Court.
Really?
Where he was actually, because he was always skeptical about like the afterlife. He didn't say he was that he didn't believe in it, but he wasn't actually sure. You know, he wasn't sure if because he used to say, why should there be ghosts? So basically, he was in the Great Hall. He was doing putting some copper pipe in, and he saw, like the corner of his eye, he saw a lady in a white dress, but he couldn't. But he could see her, but he didn't know where she came from, because obviously the actual door to the Great Hall was in a different direction. So and she wasn't there. Obviously there was no one there in that hall when he was doing his work, but the door was actually in a different sort of area. So she wouldn't have come through the door, but it was the area where he saw her. She must have come through the wall. Because there was no door where she could have entered the Great Hall, and it kind of like freaked him out a little bit. He knew after seeing it that it must have been because there was nowhere where she could have come from, and he reported it to the lady. Her name was called Lady Palmer, that owns Dorney Court, and he reported his experience, and she said, "Yeah, that's one of our resident ghosts," and we've got quite a few ghosts here that have been sort of seen and experienced over the years. So she invited him to write it in the guidebook, because over the years, you know, people have been writing and putting in their sightings, you know, like putting their name in the book and writing the date and the time that they actually saw it. But my dad didn't really know exactly what time it was. It was during the late afternoon time. So basically, when my dad told me all about it, when it sort of like generated there some interest in it, you know. So to cut a long story short, when I moved to Torquay, I found out about a group called Torbay Investigators of the Paranormal from the local newspaper called the Herald Express, and they were doing a charity function at Barton Pines, which is one of the most haunted sort of inns in Torquay. You know, it's just outside Torquay. It's near Berry Pomeroy. It's one of the most haunted places in the area. And so we did I saw the advert in the Herald Express, so I went along to that, and then it was a really good night. We didn't do an investigation; it was just like a fundraising party. And then I just got involved with David's group and that. And then when I got involved with David's group, we used to do Berry Pomeroy. We used to go and visit Berry Pomeroy a lot. So basically, we would have the meeting, and then afterwards, there'd be a group of us that would go to the castle. But obviously, as you know, it's actually closed at night. You can't actually get inside the actual inside the grounds itself. But we never climbed over because David always said, obviously that we don't do that, But yeah, we all had sort of various experiences. I mean, I didn't see anything then, but we all heard, various paranormal phenomena. We actually heard a door slamming, which was coming from behind the gatehouse. So as you go through the gatehouse arch, as you know, Terry, if you go to the right, there's like a little set of steps.
Yeah.
And there's like an archway, isn't it? There's like an arch wooden door which takes you inside the chapel. And we actually did witness that. We actually did hear the door slamming, but there was no one there because this was about 10:30 at night, and we just heard a door slam, which actually freaked me out, and it freaked David out, and it freaked Paul and Sandy out, and some of the other members of the group. I've got a friend called Stephen Kate, and even though they've had loads of experiences there, they actually was freaked out by it as well. It was really loud. But we've been doing visits to the castle for many years, and but each member of the group have had different experiences because some of them are like trained mediums. So fast forwarding it to obviously the more recent times, I set up 2 Berry Pomeroy pages on Facebook. So I started off having a group called Berry Pomeroy Castle's Haunted Heritage, and that I sort of started running since 2017. So I always invite people to share their experiences, obviously their photos, any video evidence, which I have obviously been getting for over the years. And it's been very, very successful. People have actually messaged the page, or they'll post photographs on there, the photographs that they randomly took, not necessarily going out expecting anything to happen. But out of all those people, there are people that obviously go there and they expect things to happen because it's one of the most haunted castles. I mean, it's not actually the most haunted castle in England, but it's one of them. But it doesn't work that way, as you know. Obviously they're not performing actors, and some people get very disappointed. But over the years, I mean, many people have produced some amazing photographs, which they've all posted on my page. And then obviously later on, I think it was about 4 years ago, I had decided to have a second page, which was the Berry Pomeroy Castle's The Haunted Heritage page. So obviously just to get it out there, just to get all the obviously the ghost stories out there, I decided to have a second page, and it's been really successful. So we've had people that have come forward with their own personal experiences. We've had people that have been skeptical, that have gone there and they haven't had any experiences straight away, but then later on they've had things happen to them that they can't explain. So yeah, we've had all different kinds of people coming forward with personal experiences, seeing obviously the white lady, the lady in blue, another lady in a pink dress, which we believe is the spirit of Alice.
Chris has just joined in, guys. So
yeah.
Show Chris.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting coffee there.
Hi, Chris.
You're right.
Hello.
Yeah. So
yeah. So
like you're saying, Matt, with most places, it's it's going there and sort of like trying to see, observe basically. I mean, we went to the tea rooms last weekend or the weekend before. I can't remember. My brain's over the place. But we went there. Now a lot of groups have caught a lot of strange activity there, and mainly names coming through on the echo devices and stuff, but and physical phenomena. We went there, and if I'm going to be completely honest, nothing happened. You know, I mean,
No.
there was like an atmosphere. It's more static than anything. And we felt it upstairs more than downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got like a new pot built in the back. So
I see.
we were told that was active. We told the guys there who were there all the time, don't tell us anything about the building. Or my brother who came along, he didn't want to know nothing about the building, just to see what we could pick up on. But it was definitely a matter of, there was an energy there. Our hair stood up on end. It was a hot day. As we were walking around, we had knocks and bangs. And basically the lights have been on all day. They're obviously cooling down at night. So when I heard a knock, I think I did a live stream on my Facebook page, and there's a knock, and I investigated it. It was the lights cooling down. And I actually sat out the back on my own and called out. And one of the images was that image I put on the page of what looks to be a hand, but that was taken on a camera phone with the ISO set into high on a long exposure.
Oh, yeah.
So that was why I was calling out on camera.
Right. Wow.
Saying, is anyone there? But I don't know if it's a hand because the picture isn't great, but it's certainly interesting.
No.
Yeah.
But
I've not seen that, Terry. I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the page. But also, I was going to put a video up, and a lot of people have seen it already or followed the page. This is Waverley Abbey in Farnham. It's probably the best video of an apparition on camera, and it happened about 11 minutes towards the end. So I'm just going to play that for anyone watching or anyone watching.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see that. Yeah.
That's the Abbey there. That was just locked off camera.
Oh, yeah.
You see it to the left there. It's not great.
I was going to say, Terry, I just noticed that. There it is again.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Now, on the, I had to do a screenshot, but on the actual video of that, you hear a door shut, but there is no door there. It's a fireplace, which has been bricked up. And many films like The Mummy, I think it was not Shaun of the Dead, but the police one. They're all filmed at the location. So whether a filming crew had boarded that part up, I'm not sure. But I've actually got a still image of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can just about see something there, Terry. Yeah, I can see something.
You can see the pillar there. Now the thing was on a tripod. That's taken from the video. That's probably the best still we've got of it. And Dave at the far gate sat there.
Yeah,
I can just about see it. Yeah, I'll probably need to enlarge. I'll have a look at it later, actually. But I've got the sun glaring at me at the moment. Oh yeah.
So that figure walked past, and that was caught 11 minutes before the camera ran out. So nothing happened.
I see.
It was interesting.
No.
We didn't call out or anything. We just exploring the grounds, and we just left the camera on to see if anything walked past.
Yeah.
So
All right.
That's sometimes the best thing to do, isn't it? It's just leave it running so that you can just catch it when.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Claire. Yeah, because it happened. Because what I find is, I mean, I actually had a sighting. I've actually saw my first sighting at Bury Pomeroy back in 2020, and that was when I wasn't even expecting anything to happen. It tends to happen when you're not sort of going out with a desperate sort of mind in order to try and capture something. It happens when I've noticed, which we'll talk about my documentaries in a minute, but I mean, for instance, myself and we had all these mediums sitting at the table outside the castle. We were just talking amongst ourselves, and I kid you not, and we didn't even have a camera in our hands, and we actually saw a large red orb come from the top of the gatehouse. It hit the bush, which is to the right of the gatehouse, and then came and hit the ground. It happened so quickly, we didn't even have time to react. And that was about a year ago. It was like a large red orb. And I've never seen a large red orb with a naked eye before. And that was when we were just talking at the table about other stuff. It wasn't even talking about the castle. We just had a break, and we just sat there. We were just talking amongst ourselves. We wasn't even filming or nothing. And then we saw in front of us, we just saw this orb that shot down from the top of the kitchen. But what you find is, if you're not going out looking for it, if you're not that sort of desperate sort of mindset about sort of capturing stuff, and if you don't think about it, it's stuff does tend to happen. And if you do leave your camera on, if you leave your video on, that is good, because then obviously you can be lucky and you can sometimes capture stuff that way. So that was lucky that you got that, Terry. So it's obviously
just say about Chris. Chris, you caught a strange light, didn't you? And you filmed it on camera. Again, that's going to show. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. You took a photo of the street, and a light normally appeared, but it went past the van, and it created a reflection on the van. I mean,
I was up late one night, and I wanted to make a video so I could put it on my YouTube to get my YouTube up and started. So I decided that I was gonna, because it's quiet outside, I put my phone against the window, thinking that I got my phone set on video, and I didn't. I had it set on photograph. So I pushed the button, and it made the noise like taking a photograph, and I was like, I put it on the wrong setting. So I took the phone off the window, and then looked at the photographs to see what the light was like and everything. So when I take the video, it would have been better. Add music to it, put it on my YouTube. That would be my opening segment for my YouTube account. And as I looked at the photographs, at first I didn't see the light because it was like just coming into frame. As I went through each photograph, there was about 8 photographs. This light is elongated and it's moving down the street, and it lit up the side of the van as it went past, and it lit up the floor, and you can actually see it reflecting in a window opposite the side of the street. But when I took the photograph, I didn't take anything. I didn't see anything, because if there was somebody outside or a car, I wouldn't have pushed a button because I wanted a clear shot. I didn't want nobody in the shot. So I was looking out the window at the time, and I didn't see any light or nothing. There was no traffic, no people, no nothing. This is about 1:30 in the morning. But when I looked at the photograph, there is this light, and it's going down the street towards me. I've had it analysed, and it's definitely on the shot. It's not anybody in a car or in a truck or a bike or anything like that. It's just a light, elongated light, and it must have been going fast as well, because I didn't see it.
Does it look a bit like a rod?
I would have said it was a sphere, but because it was moving that fast on the photograph, it just looks like a long rod, a long light. And it I say I didn't see it with my own eyes, so it was a bit of a shock when I actually saw it on the photograph, and it was like, what is that? So straight away I put it up onto the chat that I was in, and everyone was like, what the hell's that? And I don't know. And to this day I still don't know what it is. We've had
the reflection of the van. That was what was strange.
Yeah, it's shone up.
It was there. It wasn't on camera reflection. It was actually reflecting off a physical thing on the street.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't a reflection off the camera in my mind. That was what was interesting. In each frame where you see the photo, the light on the van, it moves. So where it moves past the front wheel, the light's behind the back of the front wheel, sort of going back, sort of showing that the light's passing, the light's going that way, and the phenomena's going that way. You know, that's what was interesting. So it proves it was moving.
Yeah.
I put it on. I showed him on Paul Sinclair's site. He showed him. He was taken back by him as well, because he still didn't know what it was.
No, it's so strange.
Seems very interesting, that though, doesn't it?
But with regards to light,
we're not. I strongly believe that we can't pick up a lot of stuff with our eyes, but the new technology that's coming out in cameras and sensors and things, they're starting to pick up things that our eyes can't.
Yeah, exactly. So, I agree with you there.
A lot better as well, the sensors.
So you can watch these nature documentaries I watched one the other day on what bees can see and and wasps and why they buzz around us, and they see us as pixelated figures with all their senses in their eyes. And when we wear perfumes and aftershaves and things that smell nice, they obviously think we're flowers. So they can't see us as human beings. Is that with nature, certain things can see certain other things, you know, and we can only see this, but this technology we've got, that's all adapted from things like nature, things like they're trying to create what things in nature can see. So it enhances that invisible realm.
They believe that cats and dogs can see in infrared.
Yeah. So,
they're seeing a spectrum that we can't see. And this is why my cat freaks me out all the time, because he's spotting something floating around in the living room and I can't see anything, but my cat can see something.
I like at Christmas when I look at the Christmas trees, if they're staring at something and then all of a sudden the bauble starts spinning and then no one's even near it. So it's like, okay, using it. It's always good to get the camera quickly when they do it, because sometimes you're lucky enough to see something to support what they're looking at. Otherwise, it's like, what are you looking at?
He freaks me out sometimes because he can be fast asleep and then just suddenly wake up and he's seen something in the living room, but I can't see anything.
Yeah.
I think that's also why pets comfort us, is because they can see our auroras around us, and we give a certain energy or colour.
Yeah.
They comfort us when we're down.
I agree with
sad,
that. Yeah.
And then when we're happy, they join in. So maybe you're right in saying they can see different things and they can see our colours and what moods we're in. I know my two dogs, when I'm a rubbish day at work or rubbish week, I take them for a walk and they follow me around and comfort me all the time.
Yeah.
You know? So I ain't with cats.
But mine, when I was ill last week, they just wouldn't leave me alone.
Oh,
Just
they'll
kept
sense
coming
you
and
ill.
checking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can sense you're ill, Claire, can't they? So that's why they're around you. Yeah, they pick up on your vibe as well. So
they keep
Can I
jumping
ask?
in here.
Have any of you three ever done ever gone to Tamworth Castle?
I might have.
I haven't. No, I haven't.
No.
I was going to say, if you can get the chance to do a ghost tour at Tamworth Castle, it's got a lot of history. A lot. I've been around it a couple of times, inside and out, and there is rooms where you can walk into and the hair will stand up on your head and the ends, and that it's spooky in places. But it's a Norman castle, so it goes back a long, long way. So there's a lot of history to it. And I've always wanted to know, like, if anybody's going to do like a ghost tour around Tamworth Castle, if one of you want to set it up or something.
Right.
It is
I
a
used to
brilliant
go
place.
that way, and I've been to Goodrich and Stafford Castle. The Goodrich one, we saw stuff and caught stuff in the on the bit where you go down and you're in that like sort of basement area. I don't know if any of you have been, but
I've been to
we
Goodrich.
caught something in there. Yeah, it's right in that tunnel bit. It was I couldn't go in. My husband went in with the camera.
I found a castle here in Wales not so long ago. I thought it was a hill fort. Found out on Google Earth there was no markings to say what it was. So I took the Google images of the area, walked around to my museum, said, I think I found another hill fort. So they pulled out the hill fort book and they're going through it and they go, well, we can't find it in this book. And I go, oh, great, I found a new hill fort. Brilliant. And it turns out it's a 11th century Norman castle. Wow. And it's Aberystwyth's first castle. And I always thought that Aberystwyth Castle was the first castle, but it wasn't. There was another castle before it. So, but when I tell the locals, they're all gobsmacked. They're all shocked. They was like, "No, we've got another castle."
I'll have to find out where that
nothing
is.
left of it.
We're always up there.
There's a few stones. They did a dig there a couple of years ago, and they found artifacts and everything. So and now if you go on Google Earth, they've actually put a marker on it now. So what it is. Yeah, but
have to check that out.
I love old buildings, castles. They're just doing up the old university at the minute. And I've been around that place and that is spooky inside. Especially at night time when there's no students in it. It's just the halls and they've got the lights on. And you can hear the boards creaking, you can hear the taps tapping and the pipes and everything. We walked into one room and I just thought, no, I can't stay in here. I've got to leave. So, but yeah.
Was that the same sort of thing, Chris? Did you pick up on like a static sort of a feel to it? Like a temperature change?
I get like tingling at the back of my neck and my arms and that, and I can feel my hair
Yeah.
standing up and everything. And it's only in certain rooms. It wouldn't be like all of it all the time. I can walk into a room and it'll be like cold, and you'll be like, where everyone else is warm, but this one room will be cold, and that's when you start to feel, you know, you're getting the heebie-jeebies and think, I can't stay in here.
I've
And Matt,
started
do
to
you get that at
sneeze
the
whenever I
castle?
sense something.
So sorry, buddy.
Do you get that
Well,
at the castle at all?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, yeah, you do often. I mean, that's the beauty of working with all these mediums is that they pick up on different things, and they all work differently. But we do get that at the castle. Yeah. I've never picked up on the foreboding because there's supposed to be a foreboding there, you know, but I've never picked up on the foreboding at all. But in certain areas, you've got Sue Sotheby Overton, you've got Kevin Hines. They actually picked that up in the tower, in Margaret's Tower, and also the back of the castle in the Seymour Mansion, where they pick up on a foreboding, and they also picked up at there was a guy called Ralph that used to burn the bodies. At the back of the castle, so they were picking up on that recently, and a lot of torture that happened there that I didn't even know about, you know. But yeah, you do pick up on the temperatures, and you do pick up on like the different sort of vibes, you know. And it's not all negative; it's positive and negative, you know, that goes on there.
And what about you, Claire? Have you anything down the chase at all where you get that foreboding feeling, or
do you get that, Claire? Foreboding?
Yeah, I get like a gut feeling, I tend to call it, and pimples and sneezing is my telltale signs when I'm near something. But in the chase, there's about 3 areas. The ones where you see the lights and the crafts, and then the other area is where you see a lot of apparitions, and then there's a third area where you'll hear horses galloping, you'll hear and feel like someone's right behind you running towards you, but there's no one there. But there's just such a bad feeling. When we've tried to take the dogs down there, they refuse. And because I'm a bit empath, I just break into tears when I try and walk down certain paths there. So I just can't go down that one area, but I'm all right. Everywhere else, I'm okay, but just this one area.
there's a graveyard there, isn't there? Is it a German graveyard?
German graveyard, German cemetery, isn't it, Claire? Yeah, because we went there, didn't we? When I came over to you.
That's it. Yeah. That's where we saw this soldier marching and picked up on screams on the walkers. And there is some more cemetery bits down the one side to that one where I had the eerie feeling. If you take a different entrance to that part, there is some like reefs and that left, because there used to be a hospital there, and there was a lot of children that was unfortunately had a lot of history there in the news a good few years back that ended up in the chase as well. So there's quite a lot of history on that one part that's a bit more negative to the rest of it.
Yeah.
So,
Claire, can I ask you? Sorry.
Are we on about Cannock Chase? Yeah.
Cannock Chase, yeah.
So I always call it the chase.
The chase.
I haven't heard it called the chase for years. I used to go up the hills and everything.
Yeah.
Claire, do you think? Claire, can I ask you a question, Claire, about the chase?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the legends there about the pig man? Do you believe that that's real? Has anyone ever seen the pig man there at all?
I'll be honest, I've not seen that myself. I've heard a lot of the Black-Eyed Children.
I was just about to say the Black-Eyed Children.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Black-Eyed Children?
I know the pub where they originate from, and that's just outside of the chase, but they actually ended up into the chase. But the other one, there is a dog-like creature that's tall, easily about 7 foot, that walks on its hind legs. Yeah, I have personally seen that one. And that was more towards the Shugborough side of the Cannock Chase.
Oh, Shugborough Hall.
Yeah, that was like the big forestry bit just on the outskirts of that
Hmm.
one, because the chase is
Been
quite
there,
big.
yeah.
So
I have an interesting story of Cannock Chase.
yeah,
I was with the school. There was about 14 kids. Like we was all probably about 10, 11. Two teachers takes us to Cannock Chase. And we're walking through all the paths and everything, like going up between woods, and we're playing and everything. Teacher grabs us all together because it's getting close to dinner time, so he wants all the kids together so we can walk up to the top of the hill where there's a little picnic area, and then we'll all sit there and we'll have a picnic. As we're walking up this track, there's a couple of like people walking towards us, like, you know, we all say good morning, and, you know, we're all being polite and everything. And then just to the side of us, where there's a clump of trees, there was a green ball of light, and it was hovering about 2 foot off the floor. Everybody just stops, and all the kids are getting excited, and that, like the teachers trying to calm us down, and we could hear like the teachers and these people that are walking towards us. They're all asking, "What is it?" Mr. Greenwood, who was one of the teachers that took us with us, he turned around and says, "Oh, it's got to be swamp gas. You know, it's got to be what's come off the swamp, because in the bottom of these trees it was a bit marshy land and everything."
yeah.
As we walked up the path, we watched this green ball of light go into the woods and go around trees. So it didn't pass through trees, it went around the trees, and then it just faded out. Well,
Wow.
the teachers, the kids, and all these people that was coming, we just stopped, and we was all talking about it and everything, and, you know, what could it be? And we all agreed that, yeah, it could be swamp gas and everything. And Mr. Greenwood, like, sort of pat himself on the back because he came out with the answer and everything. And then on the way back to the minibus, that's all we talked about was this green ball of light, and how many times does this green ball of light in these woods and that lot. I've never seen it since, and I've been to Cannock Chase quite a few times on the expectation of seeing something like that again, and I've never seen anything like it since.
It's
So,
supposed to be nature fairies, turquoise or
Elementals,
blue.
yeah.
So I don't know where the green might be on the same sort of element of spirit sort of thing, whether it be
I was always told to avoid the blue ones, the blue spheres.
right.
Anything else, reds, white, yellow, green, fine. Blue ones I was always told to avoid.
Oh, I had a blue one. That was in one of my old bedrooms. That was the only one I saw with the naked eye, that one. The red one I didn't, but I saw the blue one.
I've seen quite a few red ones in the sky here in Wales. We get a lot of activity in the skies here.
Yeah.
Not so much on the ground. Not like what I saw in Cannock Chase. And I mean,
Yeah.
the thing of it was about the size of a basketball. And you could see through it. It wasn't a solid green ball. You could see through it, like, and it wasn't like one of these ones where you see on TV and you got all static and electricity coming off it and everything. It wasn't nothing like that. It just looked like a green mist, like a ball-shaped mist. But when it went into the woods, we thought, oh, that's it. But then when he started going in and out of the trees, that's when it got my curiosity, and I was thinking, this has got to be intelligent or something, because the way he was going around the trees. And I remember as well, when we got back to school, we actually wrote about it, like what we did on our trip. And the first thing that I wrote was about the green ball of light. Yeah, we were supposed to write down, like, we saw snakes and we saw like toads and whatever that we were supposed to be looking for. Everyone was talking about this green ball of light.
Yeah. Wow. If it was gas, it would have gone through everything.
Yeah, but you could see through it, but it was like mist, but green, in a ball shape.
Is it like something like this, Chris? This is a photo my brother took a good few years back now. This is strange because none of them smoke, or someone took a photo and they hold their breath when they take photos, as you do when you're taking paranormal photos. You don't your breath anything to appear in the photo. But I'll show you this one here. This is that Waverley Abbey again. So you can see them in the background there. Again, this is the main building where that apparition I showed earlier. You can see the arch there, just behind that mist. And it sort of looks like a skull or something, doesn't it? It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it does a
What's
bit.
that in the arch itself on the stonework in between the windows frame?
That's the guys. That's my brother, his friend Jason, and one of their female friends. They stood there to pose for a photo. So they were doing their own ghost hunt. And the guy who took the photo caught this mist. And he says that he wasn't breathing, or none of them smoked. I know that because my younger brother at the time is against it all, but he didn't like smoking. So none of them smoked. And they say they held their breath and took the photo. And in front of this arch. Now, that archway behind there, where that apparition was seen. So it's something about that main building there, which is possibly where the activity is. But I don't know to say that's like an evil thing or what. I don't know. What do you think? There's a mist, isn't it? It's something like plasma.
It definitely looks more...
It's a mist, Terry. Definitely a mist.
Or something, yeah.
It looks like it's full of like animal or something, doesn't it? Because it's more thin
like
than
a ram's skull or something.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the roundness of it as it's on the bottom right. Sorry, on the bottom left, you've got like looks like it's coming around,
like an eye socket or something. It's very bizarre. But he took that a good few years back at Waverley Abbey. Now, what's going on down there at the minute? A friend of mine, Alan, who I did the ghost hunt with the other weekends, he warned me that there's been witchcraft, not the nice sort of white witch sort of craft, sort of satanic sort of. I've been in trouble before saying that witchcraft is devil worshipping. I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying is that there's some evil magic, evil magic, which has been taking place at this castle. I know well where it's taking place. There's an old war bunker, and that's where I've had reports before where they've been doing this satanic rituals down there. But recently there's been symbols carved into the old tree. I think it's a tree next to the abbey, and there's been ribbons on the tree, and it's to do with dark magic. And I've been told, just to be careful to go down there at certain times of night on your own, because they've been seen down there doing the rituals down there. But that's quite recent, and I say the bunkers, where the World War II bunker was, that was from quite some time ago. I heard those reports, but it seems like it's active again down there. There's groups going down there doing dark magic. So, but yeah, I don't know if this is connected to that, but it's just a strange ram skull. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it looks very.
I thought that as well, Terry.
Like
it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, when you look at it from a distance, it does look like a ram skull.
And it looks too solid, doesn't it? Around like where the eye socket would be. It looks too solid for it to be any other type of smoke. So if it was other type of smoke, it'd be the same consistency. But that one's got
exactly
shade into it. So it's
also with a flash, which I believe that was taken with a flash, you'd get the reflection from any sort of smoke or breath or anything. It just come up as a mist. You don't see anything. Which is quite interesting.
Yeah, because you have to rule out smoke and mist as well, like and fog. But that's definitely not that. Any of that. It's definitely. I mean, I can see like a ram's skull, or it resembles something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, someone looked at it and said it looked like somebody tying a horse up. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't see that personally, but yeah, they said they could see a man strapping a horse to a pole, sort of thing. I was like, oh, okay. So it's interesting how different people see it. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe they can see something else extra that we can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
there's a place up north. You'll probably know this, Terry. Where there was a battle years ago, and there was an earl. He reported seeing this battle going past, of like, and there was actually in the ground. All you could see was like above the knees. The lower legs was actually in the ground, and there was marching, and it went on for about half an hour. This earl said, and he wrote it all out. I can't remember the name of the place. It's something like Bosworth or something like that. Battle of Bosworth or something. But you can go there people have reported going to these hills and they can hear cannon fire and they can hear horses running and people with pikes and everything and shouting and that lot. But there's nothing there. But people have reported this over the years, and I say the Earl of it's not Lincolnshire. I can't remember what Earl he was, but he wrote in this book what he saw that day, and he said he just passed him. It was like going for about half an hour. It was all these soldiers and cannons with like on backs of like trucks, trolleys and things, just all being pulled, and horses as well. But you could hear it all, but you couldn't see anything.
That's like saying that, Chris. Matt, you know Basingstoke. Is it Old Basing?
Yeah.
Of Old Basing.
Old Basing ruins. Yeah, Old Basing ruins. Yeah, 'cause I used to live a stone's throw away from it, but Basing ruins. Yeah.
Old Basing. Yeah, Old Basing. There's a reenactment. It's been heard, but no one's seen anything. They just heard battle cries and gunfire.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And it's like a housing
because people have actually heard. Yeah, I mean, people have actually heard musket fire, battle cries. They've heard the clashing of swords as well, especially along that Barton's Lane, which is near Barton's Mill, which is pretty much where I used to live. So people that were going out at night time walking their dogs could actually hear it. There weren't many reports like recently. I don't think there's been any more reports recently, but when I was living there, now and again you'd hear fresh reports, of like people that were walking their dogs, especially along the field, and they would hear like musket fire, and the sounds of like battle sort of cries, clashing of swords, horses as well, but yeah, it was I say a fairly regular thing, but I'm not sure because I don't live there no more. But I think that it's still active, and also Oliver Cromwell, Oliver Cromwell, Terry,
about the hospital, they demolished. It's like an institute, and it was knocked down, and new flats were built on there, and the people who bought the new houses heard doors shutting and strange stuff going on. And that's quite recent stories from Basingstoke. I mean, like you say, you've got the old ruins as well, which I think you sent me a message about. But and
also Park Pruitt, Park Pruitt Mental Hospital in Basingstoke. That's supposed to be haunted. Yeah, Park Pruitt. Yeah,
that's got new.
I was gone now, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that, mate. I didn't know it was. I didn't know it.
Yeah, that's gone. So it's
gone.
I believe, it's all housings, and these people reported the odd goings on and on these new houses with like doors shutting and voices heard. A lot of people viewed the housing, didn't want them, don't want to live there.
There was a guy in Sheffield that was putting a lot of videos up on YouTube where he was having a lot of activity in his house. I think he's moved now. I think he had enough. He just couldn't take any more.
Is that the portal?
Could be.
Really haunted, I think it was, wasn't it? Really haunted channel?
I don't know. He was just setting cameras up around his house and catching loads and loads of activity. But he would talk to it. He wouldn't be scared of it. He would try and interact with it and ask it questions. And he even got a priest involved because people was telling him, look, you need to get your house cleaned and everything. So he got a priest to come down. But it didn't work. The priest blessed his house, but he was still getting the activity. You were seeing shadow figures by his back door on camera. He'll be in bed. He went up into his attic and he got thrown out of his attic. Someone came towards him in his attic and he lost his footing and fell out of his attic onto his landing. Luckily, he was all right. But the rest of the family was getting sick and tired of it. And I'm not sure if he's still doing it, if he still lives there and he's still making the films. I haven't seen anything since. So,
has he tried smudging it?
Has he tried what?
Smudging.
What's smudging?
It's where you go around with sage.
Oh, right. I think he did. I think somebody turned around and said, "Go and put sage around your house." But
Might need Ian Lawman, I think.
yeah. But his wife, he's got a camera set up in his bedroom, one downstairs in the living room. Just going. And something will happen while he's asleep, and then he'll wake up and he'll go downstairs, and then things will start happening, like things will start moving around in his living room, or there'll be a flashing light, or something will be seen at his back door, or the curtains will open on his back door or something. And he'll put the camera right up in the far corner of his living room and then just let it film. And he'll try and interact with it. Me, I would have just packed up and moved. I would have stayed in the house. I would have just moved, let the ghost have the house.
Our worst one was in Warsaw. We used to have people knock the door and say, "Our daughter's seen the blue lady in your window again. Can you do something about it?" And I says, "Well, no." we tried everything, but she kept apparently peeking out and scaring everyone. So they used to knock the window and ask if we could do something about it. And it's
yeah. I think what it is, I think it's just trying to get your attention. I think it's not. They're not scaring you. They're just trying to, get your attention, just to let you know that they're actually there. So they'll do anything. Yeah.
A friend of mine said it's not the ghosts you should be worried about, it's humans you should be worried about.
It's the living, it's a living, definitely.
It's not the dead.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We had it in the flat we bought. We moved in just before COVID. And I wasn't doing ghost hunts at the time or anything. And sadly, a lady that lived here previously had passed away. So there's two sons that had sold the house, and they'd done it up for us. And we were just going through the bars when COVID hit. So me and Amy were moving, literally had our stuff over the road, but we're moving things into the house, no removal vans. You couldn't get anything because obviously it was when COVID first hit. So we're moving all, and we're sleeping and sitting on cardboard boxes, and it's just us two moving sofas in. It was quite busy. But sort of between after the first wave of COVID, where we're in between that, are we all right and are we not sort of thing. I mean, you could have your bubbles and see family. I was going to B&Q and buying shelves and putting shelves up. Now, sort of during the day, I mean, I've been working nights. I could hear talking in the bedroom. There's a lady that lives below us who's Amy's aunt, and she's actually on holiday. She's away. I think she'd flown away, because I say this is sort of after the first wave of COVID, so where you could travel on restrictions if you had the jab sort of thing. So she was abroad. And I'd sound like TV on, and I say, asked if anyone was down there. I'd text my wife. I said, "Anyone downstairs?" No, not that. It's like it was in the. So I got up, checked the lounge. TV wasn't on in here, and we only had the one dog then, Odie, and he wasn't spooked to anything. So that was strange. I mean, one night I was sleeping, and I remember telling you about this, Claire. It was 3 solid knocks on the door.
Yeah.
It was like, knock, knock, knock. And I was like, okay. And it happened during the day when I was sleeping during the day. But what that sounded like was a knock going up the door, because it started at a light tone, and an even lighter tone, which suggests that it was going up the door. Now, these doors are only cheap, sort of like doors from sort of B&Q, Wickes sort of thing. They're not solid oak doors, but it sounded like a solid oak door being knocked on. So that night I said... Yeah. Stupidly, I was half asleep. I woke up, and I remember Odie woke up as well in that first night when it's during the night time. I woke up and went, "Come in." I was just like, whatever you are, just come in. Came in. That Christmas, I was on my own in the flat, and Amy was at her mum and dad's with the dogs, and the baubles on the tree started moving, and then the decorations started spinning around. And at this point, I just said, "Look, go away, leave me alone," like that, and that night it stopped, and we haven't had anything since. And we actually got a little statue thing, because Amy sort of follows religion, so she brought like a little, I think it's like a Jesus or something, like a little thing which put above the bedroom door, and we've got some other sort of charms and that around the house, and we have saged it, and whatever it was is gone. But I don't know if that was the previous owner sort of saying, "Hey, I'm still here." But apparently, if you make changes or noises and stuff, that can sort of start things.
Yeah, they don't like it, do they? No, they don't like it.
From the town centre, they started recommissioning that. They knocked down the old Debenhams, and they started knocking down old walls and that. And all of a sudden, all this ghostly stuff started happening when they started revamping, putting new shops in, and security guards were saying, there's stuff going on here. The lifts were going up and down, playing around. One of the stories, the nightman, security guards, saw a lady walking up, if you're local to the area where Wilkinson's used to be, from Sainsbury's, where Sainsbury's used to be in Farmer Town Centre. It's now a cinema. I think it's a Pizza Express or something now. Saw a lady walking out of there up towards the bus stop, which is just outside where Wilkinson's is. And he approached her. He said, "Oi, you're not allowed to smoke in here," because he could smell the cigarette, and she's puffing away on the cigarette. And he this is like 9-10 o'clock at night, the precinct's shut. But that didn't go through his mind. Like, what's she doing here? And it's shut. The first thing he said was, "You're not supposed to be smoking in here." She didn't even turn around. She just vanished. And then he realised that, hang on, there's a member of the public doing in here. And then he said, she might be in the toilet or something, and come out and not realise it was shut. It was the old lady.
Oh, wow.
There's a couple of videos that I've been seeing online where you've got a security guard and you see him on camera and he's talking to somebody, but there's nobody there. But the security guard says, "Oh, no, I was chatting to this woman and that lot. I even offered her a receipt and everything. I offered to go and get her a cup of tea and everything." And she she looked a bit flustered. And the guys was like, "You wasn't talking to anybody on camera." And then when they showed him, there was like, I can't explain that. I really can't explain it.
That's not my brother. Yeah, he works in Southern Electric in Farnborough, and he's upstairs cashing up one night. And he saw someone corner of his eye downstairs, and where the office was upstairs, so he could see down. And he went down to assist this old man. He thought, "Hang on a minute, I haven't shut the door. This old gentleman's just walked in." So he's gone down. As he's sort of gone to turn to go down the stairs, this old man sort of left. He's looking at TVs or something, and he just left. And then Mr. Bumbles next door, the hairdressers, the girls in there, they used to call Stephen Spooky. This was when the X-Files used to be wife, and they said, "Here comes Mr. Spooky Man," because they had reports of strange things going on. And I haven't heard anything recently, but the recent thing I have heard is that it was built on an old farm or Farmer Town Centre. It's a land from an old farm or something. And I know the Tumble Down Dick, which is now a McDonald's, that was active as well, because the ghost team went in there. And they had to stop because it's full of asbestos. So they now turned into a McDonald's and cleaned it all up. But that's an old building. But that was there before, and apparently the town centre was built on old farmland. So is it connected to the history there? This is like the tea rooms. I think that, excuse me, shut the dog up. With the tea rooms, it's the oldest building in Frimley. We went there. The gentleman was explaining about the tea rooms, and the wooden beams in there are actually from the old trade spice ships that used to come from China, which got decommissioned in Portsmouth.
Oh, right.
And what they did, instead of wasting wood, they used them as lintels that support the walls.
Yeah.
And basically to stop wasting the wood, so that got shipped in. And the old building had old materials in. So whether that's got connected with something else, I've heard of, there's a gentleman in there, from what they know, it's not connected to the actual building. So as this energy is brought in, and the other interesting fact is, before we did our ghost hunt or investigation or observing, the group previous that were in there, they brought in mediums and stuff, and this medium picked up on, I think it was I don't know if it's the right name, but it was a Jenny. He said, "I'm coming up with a Jenny," and no one knew what he was on about. And then this lady said, he goes, "Is anyone here called Jenny?" And this girl put her hand up and said, "Yes, me." And he explained to her that someone's coming through for you. And she lives nowhere near here. She lives miles away. And this is in the tea rooms. And he said, "Yeah, it's a loved one." And apparently, I think it was I can't remember exactly. I think it was a nan or granddad had passed away, and he was coming through. So I think that when we do these locations, we bring in our own energy, or we bring in something with us, which is why we get the names, and we think to ourselves, "Who's that?" And who's this? That's not connected to this building. And it's something in our lives, I think, that we don't know about, but something connected, past life maybe, even if we had a past life. I've been reading up a lot about that. Apparently we live a past life if it's connections coming in saying hello.
I do believe in that, Terry. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
is
I do
it
believe
that?
in
We
past
don't
lives,
know.
Terry,
We're reborn into a cell, but
funny you should say about past lives, because I've always thought that I've lived before. And I what it is, I was a little boy, and I'm sitting in an old convertible car, and it's on the bench seats on the front. Like, so you got a bench seat at the back of the car, bench seat at the front, and I'm sitting in between this man with a thin black moustache. He's got all his hair all swept back, and then the woman, she's in a petticoat with all like polka dots all over it. And I'm sitting in the front of this car, and I can see all the chrome on the dashboard and everything. But that's all I remember. But I believe that I was in that car when I was little.
Wow.
But I've asked everybody in the family, and nobody owned a car like that.
really,
So why have I got that memory of me being in that car with these two people? And the person on the left, the woman, I didn't know who she was, but the bloke did look familiar, like family or something, like my Uncle Richard or something, but not, if you know what I mean. He looked similar to him, but he's not. But I just can't, still to this day, I still can't figure out where this scene is from in my life, because it's there in my memory, but there's nowhere in my life where it actually happened, if you know what I mean. So I've always put it down to, well, it must have been a past life.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay,
Probably. Yeah, I do believe we've all had past lives. I believe that reincarnation. I believe it. You know, you have a choice whether you want to come back or not.
Well, the Indian scriptures, they talk about past lives. You've got Buddha, they talk about past lives. You had the Egyptians who wanted to carry on with a past life. So throughout history and civilization, there have always been talk about past lives and everything. Yeah.
I've got a big book on it. That's what I'm reading up on when I've got time. There's some really interesting accounts in that.
You'll have to send me that, the name of it, and I'll have a look.
That I can't find it anywhere, Chris. I actually bought that in an old bookshop, believe it or not, when I was on holiday. I found it. It was just on the shelf. I thought that looks interesting. I picked it up and bought it. I started reading it. It's actual people's accounts, and it's really interesting. These people
I know where I'll find it in the Welsh book library here, because apparently they've got a copy of every book that's ever been published in that library.
And I'll tell you what, Chris,
it'll be in there hopefully.
A lot of these books you find, like this, like that one, I've got plenty of others up there which I've just picked up, you know, from car boots or so it's taken interest. I've looked on eBay; they're going for silly money, like £100, 150 quid.
Oh yeah.
I've looked at that one, but I bought them for like 50p. You know, and I just find them an interesting read. It's just something a bit different.
Well, there was that story in the paper the other week, wasn't there? That bloke, he found a first edition of this book. He bought it for £1 or something, a book fair, and it's turned out that the book's worth about £25,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what I mean? It's
a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
I've got the old X-Files. I mean, when I was sort of in my teens, I collected a lot of the X-Files memorabilia. I mean, it was this everything X-Files back then from W.H. Smith. We used to go to Woking when we were younger on the train, me and my friend Tom, and we used to sort of like skive off school and do, you know, Friday or Saturday or something. We'd go to Woking and just bunk around the town centre. But we used to, I used to buy a lot of the, X-Files. But I've got, I mean, I've binned all the postcards and stuff, posters and stuff, but the two books I've got, they're going for like over £100. We just can't buy them anymore. I mean, they're not in great condition because they've always stayed with me. But it's like one was the X-Files, The Unexplained, the book, which is true cases of the X-Files, like true X-Files, but it's sort of like under the license of Chris Carter's X-Files.
So I got my husband one of them. I got him a book with all the case files and a signed photo.
Yeah,
of the cast.
Wow.
Yeah, well, in the X-Files, I know for a fact that there is 4 true cases. in the X-Files series. I know 4 of them, but there's supposed to be more. But I know 4 cases are based on real events.
I might have wrapped it up in bubble wrap because I saw the price of it on eBay. Yeah, I don't
Keep
know.
it safe.
Yeah.
You don't want that one getting ruined.
I'll try and get I've got a photograph, and it was took when I lived with my missus, and it was Christmas, and the kids was opening up a big rocking seesaw, plastic one, in this huge box. So the photograph is them standing behind this big box just before they opened it, because then the photograph got sent down to their aunt, who sent them the rocking horse. So Christmas morning, there was no TV on because the kids are too busy opening up presents. So we've got like Christmas music playing, so the TV's not on. As we took this photograph, there is a face on the TV screen.
Wow.
And
Wow.
she couldn't understand how this photograph was like with a face on it, because the TV wasn't on at the time. But there's a face on the screen. And it is not one of the kids. It's not a reflection from the kid's face or nothing. I'll get the photograph and I'll send it.
That'd be great. And has any of you 3 ever heard of cases of out-of-body experience where you come back and you've got all like mud and grass on you? Because I've had that, and I've
I haven't
struggled to
myself,
find anyone
no.
else who's had it.
No,
No, but
I
I've
haven't done it myself.
been trying to do the outer body experience. I would like to get into astral projection.
Yeah.
I normally get it when you're walking or you're dreaming and you're walking, and I always find it. I'm riding a bicycle and I fall off and I physically feel it. You know, my knees hurt and I wake up, and I'm like, whoa. Or I'll step off a curb. I don't even know why I'm walking down the street. There's a dream of me just walking. It's a nice sunny day. I'm walking. I see a curb. I go to step off into the road, and my ankle goes. My ankle hurt. I wake up, and my ankle's hurting, and my legs hurting. I'm falling over, and I have it quite often. I have these weird dreams, but I don't know if that's where your mind just wanders. And where I work odd shifts, my brain's still quite active.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Your brain's still working when you're sleeping. It's still quite active.
Somebody came up with a really good theory a couple of days ago. What if these shadow people that people are seeing are from people that are having astral projections?
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it's just like, oh wow, that's could be a new concept and looking into it. Like what we're seeing of shadow people is people having astral projections, like on the other side of the planet,
Yeah.
and making themselves physical in our presence. And when he spoke about it, I was like, I've never actually thought about it. It could be connected. So I'm looking into it a lot more now.
So I don't think I'll make a very good shadow person. They'd be looking at me, seeing me falling all over the place. So they'd be like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. We've got to look at a science to this sort of stuff. We've got to look out the box to try and connect it all. And that's all we got is theories. No one's actually proved anything. It's all theories and beliefs.
Well,
I mean, with mine, I weren't even myself when I had the vision. I was on a farm, and I was this other lady running away from this man in dungarees, and it felt very, very real. And when I woke up and had a shower, I had all mud and grass coming off my feet. So I don't know whether that was someone projecting an image or whether someone had took me to what happened to them. So that's why I come back with it's still on me. I just haven't got a clue where that one went.
Yeah. There's so much that I wasn't into. I had trouble believing in ghosts and things. But from what I've been seeing lately, from what people have been posting up and stories that other people have come out with, it's given me a new perspective on it all. So now I'm starting to look into it. And you know me, Terry, I've always been into like UFOs and things like that. And I've never really got into the ghost side of things. But there's things happening in my flat that I can't explain. I leave it alone. I don't interact with it, but I keep hearing things in my kitchen, like moving about. And I've gone into the kitchen, like, to see if it's Jensen mucking about on my worktop or something. And I can't see anything. I can't find anything. But I can hear things moving about in my kitchen.
It's probably loved ones trying to come through and just letting you know that they're there. Because I get that as well, and I do know it's my loved ones.
They
Well,
say
if
you'll
it's
know
my
if
dad,
it's
he's more than
kids if you
welcome.
put sweet. They
Yeah.
say if it's kids, if you leave sweets out, or they'll take the sweets, and you'll notice them missing if you leave them on the side. You know, if it's like spirits of children. So that's
Terry, there's a video online, and I think it's filmed in Portugal or Brazil or somewhere like that. This guy kept getting a lot of activity in his premises. So he was asking people online for information, like, how do I combat this, or how do I interact with it? Somebody told him to put flour on the floor. So he put flour on the floor and then put a camera watching the flour. And there's like footprints and handprints that appear in the flour. And it just, I was like, this has got to be a fake. But then he showed it on another camera. So he had two cameras set up. So it can't be fake, because you'd have to fake both cameras, like both films. And they've
I'll show another video. I don't know if you guys have seen this, or we can see it that well. Now, this game was taken in the tea rooms. There's quite a lot of stuff going. I'll play a couple of videos because it's coming up to an hour and a half now. So, right, this is from Alan Chappell. He's a good friend of mine. I met him a couple of weeks back, and he came along on the ghost hunt the other week and showing us all phenomena. But he goes into the tea rooms and records how other groups do investigations. Now, we went in, just to whoever's watching, we went in with just cameras and a voice box thing. We had a couple of cat balls. We didn't have all the fancy teddy bears that light up. And we got nothing that night. But this is, I'll play this EVP. This is something, there's another group caught. Alan's kindly showed me it, so I'll show it on here and play it now.
sounds like something saying jab, doesn't it?
It sounds like Get Out.
It sounds like
Get Out.
Yeah.
Bit like the Amityville case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get Out.
Definitely sounded like Get Out. It said it twice.
Amityville.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Claire? Amityville horror?
Yeah.
Get out. I haven't scared you, have I?
No.
No.
So the group went in and they he's recording EVPs. Aaron's got this really interesting recording device. We were there the other weekend. This thing's about the size of a phone. It's got extra mics on it, and he let me borrow it. He said, "Have a listen to that." Put the headphones. You could hear a pin drop from about a mile away.
Yeah.
He sat in the corner whilst I was setting up the cameras. And he started laughing. I'm like, "What are you laughing at?" He said, "There's about 3 girls outside that just walked past the shop, and one of them's walked into a lamppost. But I couldn't hear that out from my ears because I was inside the shop. So it must have happened on the other side of the street." And they're all giggling and laughing. And then obviously Alan started laughing because he could hear it. That's how sensitive this microphone was. It was brilliant. This is another video. This is caught on the CCTV cameras. Again, you
Wow.
know, I don't know what that was, but this next one, this is quite interesting. Now, I have to explain this whilst it plays. I don't know if I can make that any bigger. So, no.
It's all right, Terry. You can see it.
Oh, there we go. So what we got here is there's a camera recording the monitor and another camera recording what's going on around it.
Yeah. It's always
Now,
good
what
to have
happens
two
is,
cameras.
yes, so the camera's recording the monitor to see if there's any sort of strange goings on going on. And Alan set up this other camera to record the surroundings in case something goes on.
Yeah.
And this is at the back of the tea rooms where I was sat the night I've got that picture of that hand. Now, that camera is controlled by a Wi-Fi motor, so only a Wi-Fi person on the phone can move it.
So it's got a pan, tilt, and zoom.
Yes, but Wi-Fi, so you can control it. Now, this was a week before Alan sent these cameras away because they needed a firmware update. So Alan had a ghost hunt in. He goes, the cameras are still working. I'm going to take them in, but the tripods weren't connecting to the Wi-Fi, so he couldn't get the camera Wi-Fi to work. So he just used them as a tripod. And these are expensive cameras. You know, he spent a couple of grand on these. So he set them up. So they're static. They're not moving. One of them, take my face down. So that camera there, if you saw it, everyone's watching, was filming that other camera. So it started moving and the infrared light shone towards the camera filming the other camera. Alan opened the door to come back into that room. The camera was looking back at the monitor. Now, you can't move that without obviously Wi-Fi. And if you could move it, there's a resistance because it's a motor. Anything with a motor's got a resistance. You end up breaking it. And for somebody who spent about 1,500 quid on a tripod, the top quality one, I wouldn't
force it.
No, and there's no one there. So is it something forced it round, or did something come through electronically where it's Wi-Fi connected to it? I know it sounds mad, but electronically moved it, made the Wi-Fi work to move it, whether it's spirit or something had that power to move that thing. I'll just find out.
Well, they feed off electric, don't they? So it
Exactly.
could have influenced it. Yeah.
But no one was in that room. It's literally the back of the tea room, and they're all upstairs. And there's a set. You've got to go out the building to go upstairs where it's an old building, and it's really you'll be all right, Claire, getting in there because it's tiny. It's like the door to get in there. I'll smack my head several times at night we're in there.
Yeah.
So no one's going to rush down there and do anything. They're all upstairs.
No.
Just that, if there's anything floating around. And I just found that really strange. I don't know if I've got any other. I did have one where
turning it so you can't see it, or saying you're looking in the wrong direction, get over here or something. It's one or the other, isn't it?
It's just where it's you can see the infrared. It's definitely moving, and I just can't explain that. But the night we went, we got nothing. But I say nothing. I've not even checked the hours of recording I've got on my Sony Night Vision Plus. I've got good sort of few hours from sort of 7 o'clock till about 2 a.m. The other guys, one left at midnight because nothing was happening. Stephen and Aaron, they left about 1 a.m. and we had the building for as long as we wanted. So I said to Alan, shall we stay on a bit? There's just me and him sat in the dark. Saw the locals going home from the pubs and that, and we could hear them, but nothing happened at all. I did get some light anomalies on another camera, my full spectrum camera, but I'm not sure if that was bugs flying around. I'm still looking into it. I've got to enlarge the footage on my laptop and play around to have a proper look.
Sometimes it's always good to just leave one running while you're using all the other ones, because the one that you're not expecting to catch anything on, when you're packing everything away, it'll forget that there's one still running, and then hopefully that might be like your backup one that you might catch something with.
Yeah. How are we doing for guys? Time, guys. Sorry.
I'm gonna probably have to
20
I'll have
past.
to let the little
I've
one
got
have
a-
their room.
I've got to shoot off at 9 p.m. I've got another show to do. I've got to monitor Christine Gomez's show.
So I've got to let the
Yeah,
dogs out. So
should we? Should we do a part 2? Should we next week, or do you want to do a part 2?
The next one, what I'm doing, guys, is that this is going to be a monthly thing. So I'm hoping to bring on different people in that, but you're more than welcome to pop
Right. Okay.
on. It's basically because
Alright.
of time, the hours I work and everyone else. So I thought if I could do it
Yeah.
once a month,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we could do different topics, and go on about different things. But the next one I'm doing probably going to be about UFOs and sort of strange lights in the sky. Yeah, Chris.
Right. Yeah.
Just a brief insight on basically going off the topic we're on tonight is a friend of mine, Dave Monday, who gets out more than I do. He's got some fantastic footage of
I've seen a lot of his stuff lately.
yeah, orange lights, and he goes out places and films it, and he's just got a lot of time on his hand. It's like Isle of Wight and other places around Hampshire. The other day I showed you that thing I sent you, Chris, that star in the sky, and it started moving. I mean, it's over neighbours' house, and it's going back and forth and flashing. And
Terry, that's not a star.
no, it's something strange, and it's definitely not a balloon because on one part.
Do you think it might be a rocket, or a satellite?
Well,
nothing.
This thing was stationary at first, and then it shoots
It's
off.
stationary. I've got some software which I download on my Android, and I freeze framed it, and there's one point where it stays alight and not flashing, and it moves in a square, and then next thing you know, it disappears, and it's on another part of the sky. But if it was a balloon, it would still be going forward. Disappeared backwards, so it's a flashing light. It did like a line. Sometimes you get these footages where these lights do a line and disappear. This thing was like dot dot dot, bam, gone.
Wow.
When it appeared down here,
Oh wow! I wish I could do something like
it was
that.
a balloon. It'd be up here.
Matt,
Well, yeah.
Matt,
So this thing disappeared and was down here.
Terry sent me the video, and he goes, "What's this?" So I sent him a message back going, "Dude, that's a bloody UFO."
I mean, that's true. I mean, I think you sent me a link to the guys in Wales, and I sent it to them, and they sent me one back, a private message, and it was like, yeah, we recorded these over some Welsh region in Wales, and they're like, we don't know what the hell they are. They use a different term, but they said, no, we filmed this in daytime and at night time, Chris, because I think there's a nighttime video, wasn't there, of them flashing lights and saying you're back.
I'll send you a guy called Aaron. He lives in South Wales. He does slow exposure website. He always puts up good material from South Wales, and he has caught so much. He sees more than I do. I see a lot around here, but he sees it nightly down in South Wales. He's got some really good close-up ones as well. So,
Nice.
The thing is, I was in the garden with the dogs. I was throwing a frisbee, and that's when I saw it. And I just thought, it's something in the sky. I sat on the thing. I was carried on playing with Toffee with the frisbee, and this thing was moving and flashing. I was like, that's probably a balloon. It's when it disappears and did that thing where it split into two. It came back, and there's a second one, and straight away the second one went above it and disappeared straight away, and the original one was still there. I thought, Jesus Christ. Left the dogs in the garden. I'll never do that. Went upstairs. Luckily, my cameras from the previous weekend ghost hunting, my Fujifilm was still on the side. Picked that up, ran downstairs, grabbed my phone, had 2% battery, went out there, zoomed in on it, couldn't get a zoom, zoomed out on it. This thing wasn't appearing on the camera. Got the phone out and just zoomed in the best I could, and that's all the only footage I got off it. And I took loads of snapshots of the sky, and there's a plane flying over later on, I did show certain people, and they said it's a good thing you got the tree. There's like a leaf in the background to show it's just not a dot in the sky. It's something there for reference.
But you couldn't see anything, could you? All you could see was this light just flashing all over the place, all over.
But I've got that. I've got Dave's footage as well. He keeps sending me links. We've got crop circles going on in the area: Wiltshire, Mitchell Dever, Winchester.
Right. I'm on the fence with some of these crop circles.
Same here. I've got my own views on that.
Yeah,
and
there is a couple. there is a couple that, yeah, okay, they look a bit sus. There is a couple that you can say, oh, I haven't got a clue how that's been made.
Yeah.
But
this is all going on in an area.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing it, since I was 15, strange phenomenon that I've never heard of this. It's starting all coming up, whether it's people playing hoaxes and getting people into it. Dave's got people, he's found graffiti of witchcraft and symbols and alien faces in Somerset. He's got local as well, it's up the road. The witchcraft going on down at the Abbey. We've got these orange lights that are appearing over Sandhurst Military Academy, just up the road.
Oh, Sandhurst, yeah, I know Sandhurst.
Yeah, there's an orange light. Yeah. And somebody posted on the Facebook page going, Close Encounters of the Third Kind on a local chat group on Facebook. And everyone's laughing and giggling. But then I've gone, what's that? Looked into the Wottons and looked into the local military practice. Nothing going on. No flares released that night. No helicopters. Nothing. So this orange light sitting between the rooftops and floating around, and nothing was on the old. When I spoke to the army the other week when I was up at Andover talking about their flares on Salisbury Plain, he said we're not allowed to let any of them off near any roads or housing estates. And goes, even Salisbury Plain now is not allowed to set off army flares. You have to have restrictions.
Yeah, the reason why that in Salisbury Plain is because a couple of years ago they did let off a flare and it sets the Gorse all on fire. And
we had the same down at Purbyte.
Yeah,
Purbyte
so they're not allowed to set off flares over land. They can do it over the seas. I've seen them doing flare testing here, but they're not allowed to do it over land. So if they're not allowed to do it over land, what are we seeing over these bases?
But that's a topic for maybe next month. So anyone's welcome to join in.
Yeah, for that.
Definitely on this one.
Yeah.
If
you're watching this on YouTube, have a look, and if you're interested, have a chat with myself or anyone on here, and we can sort it out.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, because we could do something next month. Yeah, we could do something next month, Terry, couldn't we? We could do it like 15th of September.
Yeah,
or 16th of September. We could do that. Oh,
right,
okay.
I'm actually in Yorkshire and hoping to meet up with friend Paul. So hopefully meet him.
Okay.
Going up to Bempton one day to go and look at the cliffs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I'm hoping to bump into him and have a chat. I said I'd buy him a pint, but I see he's free. He's always busy. So
yeah. When you're coming down to Devon, then are you coming down to Devon? Are you anytime?
I was hoping this month, but it's just
right, yeah.
But I will try.
Yeah, leave it till September. Yeah, leave it till September. Yeah, September, October, or November. You still got time. Are you coming down, Claire, sometime this year?
Yeah, we were hoping to at some point end of September. Or October. It was going to
maybe we try and fit it in. Maybe fit it in with Terry. Maybe if you can try and fit it in with Terry, because then.
I'm going to end the live show, but you can still chat on there after. But I'm just going to end it. Just come up.
Right, okay. I'm going to shoot home now anyway. I've got to shoot back now. I've got to make a phone call. We'll do it again sometime, and I've enjoyed it. So it's a good.